G'day and welcome to ReDriven and welcome to part 4 of our top 5 track car series. And I'll tell you what, at this price point, things are getting very serious. Actually, you know what? For $50,000 to $100,000, you're probably better off buying an actual racing car or a dedicated track car and just towing it to the track. But what if you can only have one car and you want this track car of yours to also be road legal enough to enjoy on the occasional Sunday drive? Well, that's where this list comes in, but I've got to mention there are a few rules and guidelines to this list, and if you want to know what they are, go back to part 1 to find out, because it sets up basically all the ground rules for this entire series. And also, again, like the previous parts, we're not going to be mentioning any of the cars that we've mentioned in previous parts. We're not going to cover the newer or more expensive versions. Chances are the newer and more expensive versions are still going to be totally viable. But kicking things off and representing the smaller front-wheel drive category, and at this price point there actually aren't that many options, but there is a standout. It's the Mini John Cooper Works GP. Pumping out 225 kilowatts and 450 newton meters, the JCW GP is the fastest and most powerful Mini ever built. Then there's the fact that it's taken the light and easy approach to diet. No reversing camera, no frontal rear parking sensors, no powered seats, no rear windscreen wiper, no interior grab handles, no head-up display, and no rear seats, all shed weight. And in terms of the now cavernous boot, loads of space for spare wheels and tyres for your track day hijinks. Every aspect of the GP has been upgraded, reworked or enhanced to make it the most track-capable Mini that Mini can produce, short of like an actual racing car. We're talking lightweight forged alloy wheels, a mechanical Torsen limited slip diff, track-focused suspension, a wider track, beefed up front brake rotors with 4-piston calipers, GP-specific sports bucket seats, 3D printed aluminium paddle shifters, and an incredible aero package featuring vanes on the wheel arches that not only allow for the wider wheels to fit, but apparently focuses a better channel of airflow for improved aerodynamics. But there are some negatives. Firstly, look, there's no manual transmission option. This thing is so track focused, if you are going to use it as a daily driver, you're going to want mates rates at your chiropractor. And Mini doesn't have the most fabulous reputation when it comes to reliability. And on top of all that, they only offer a 3-year warranty. But anyway, what if the GP is just a bit too hardcore for you? What if you want something a little bit more normal? Well, our honourable mention is a bit of a wild card here. It's the Audi A1. The specific model we're talking about is the A1 40 TFSI S-Line. This is basically a Volkswagen Polo GTI wearing a fancier outfit, but with the Polo GTI being such a cracking good thing, and with the majority of Polo GTIs falling under this budget, the extra spend gets you a level of luxury above the Volkswagen sibling. Look, okay, yes, the A1 is tuned for more of a luxury experience over the Polo GTI's hot hatch aspirations, but with just how well this platform responds to modifications, an A1 fitted with some trick suspension and brakes, some stickier rubber, and maybe even a light massaging of that ECU, this very well could be a serious wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay, next up we're moving into the larger front-wheel drive category, and look, this thing is all too often overlooked. If you're in North America, it's the Elantra N. If you're in South Korea or Singapore, it's the Avante N. But if you're here in Australia, it's the Hyundai i30N sedan. While closely related mechanically to the superb i30N hatch variants, the sedan actually has a superior power-to-weight ratio and has a more stylised interior and the more grown-up aesthetics of a sedan. This all means that not only should it be quicker around a track than its hatch siblings, but you'll look classier doing it. The major reason that the funky-looking Hyundai gets the nod over our honourable mention is for the same reason that the i20N featured in a previous episode. It's actually all the sensible stuff. Like all Hyundai N cars here in Australia, the factory warranty extends to non-competitive track days, meaning that you'll have ultimate peace of mind when you're hammering one of these things around a circuit. Plus, in completely standard trim, this thing is a huge talent on track. And if you just need more performance from it, simply throw on some super sticky tyres, because the mechanical package underneath is just so sorted and so reliable. Mechanical grip is about the only area that could do with some improvement. But our honourable mention is another incredibly talented car, but a far more popular one. It's the Volkswagen Golf GTI, but in TCR form. Paying homage to the racing series in which the Golf GTI competes against the likes of the Hyundai i30N and the Civic Type R, and specifically aimed at the odd track day adventure, the TCR has more power, a lower and firmer ride, and a few muscular aerodynamic additions to turn up the heat on its already hot hatch base. But as awesome as even a normal Golf GTI is, they do have a few issues. Click up here to see what I'm talking about, or check it out after this video. Now, let's head into all-wheel drive town, and I think we all know which car is going to be taking out this category. Yep, it's that. It's the Toyota GR Yaris. But if you are heading to the track, you're going to want the one with the diffs. Here in Australia, that is called the Rally, and elsewhere it's known as the Circuit Pack, or it might be an option that you can add, but my God, it makes a huge difference. We'll dive into this far more deeply when our full GR Yaris video comes out, but our car was the launch edition without the diffs. Still super quick, still loads of fun, but since we fitted the rear diff, my God, what a difference. If ever there was a perfect example for power is nothing without traction, this thing is it. With purely fitting even just a rear diff, it has become seconds of a lap faster. Look, basically, if you want to track one of these things, get one with the diffs. But look, besides that, the GR Yaris is ostensibly a modern homologation special. It was built from the ground up to be driven in anger on track, through forests and on road, and look, we know from experience, it succeeds. Plus, being small and relatively light, it's actually quite kind to the consumables. It's a Toyota, so it comes with a bulletproof reputation for reliability. Even in terms of parts, look, yes, this was basically a bespoke performance car, but we found that the majority of parts are shared with other Toyota and Lexus models. So the price and availability of parts should be affordable and easy to come by. Again, we'll get into the more specific details of this Yaris in future videos, as it does spend more time on track than it does on the road, but even in standard form, it is brilliant. But go and fit it with some really sticky rubber, maybe some more serious suspension, and look, that's about all you need to go and scare far more expensive metal at the track. But what if you can't get past the fact that it's a Yaris and you just want something a little bit fancier? Well, look, there are loads of options for this category, but our pick for the honourable mention goes to the Audi TT RS. To witness just how potent these things can be with a few track-specific mods like upgrading the pads, rotors and brake fluid and fitting some lightweight wheels and sticky rubber, just check out the countless videos of TTRSs regularly finishing at the pointy end of the field in various tarmac rallies like the Targa Tasmania and Targa High Country. While the likes of the Audi RS3 and the AMG A45 seem to pull the majority of attention for this category, the TTRS provides arguably a more driver-focused experience, as it was designed and tuned to be a sports car rather than just an incredibly hot hatchback. But what if all of that all-wheel drive traction just doesn't light up your tyres? Well, it's best we dive into the smaller rear-wheel drive category, and our pick is the Lotus Elise. Tiny size, super lightweight bonded aluminium chassis, a mid-engined layout, near perfect steering, and an incredible reputation for being one of the all-time great track cars, the Lotus Elise doesn't just take out this category, but it might just be our pick for the perfect track car. But with so many variants of the Lotus Elise out there, which one should you get? Look, our pick is really anything post-2004 powered by the Toyota engine. While the earlier Rover-engined Elise, they do have their fan base, it's no surprise that the Toyota engines are proving to be far more reliable, and if something were to go wrong, parts are easy to source and pretty affordable. Now, I've been incredibly fortunate to actually live with a track-prepped Elise as a press car for a few months, and the majority of my driver training was done in that track-prepped Lotus Elise, and I cannot rave enough about this thing. As a daily driver, look, obviously it's no Toyota Corolla, but it's actually not as compromised as you might expect. And thanks to its light weight, on track it's incredibly kind to the consumables. It's actually quite fuel efficient for a high performance car, and the level of sheer driver feedback is truly incredible. And as a daily driver, look, thanks to its small size, it's super easy to park, it's hugely fun literally all of the time, and it generally draws so much positive attention. In terms of actual track prep, look, you can leave an Elise pretty much completely standard and it will eat up laps like they're going out of fashion. Or you can modify it into a time attack level of insanity and it will completely alter your perception of physics. Whatever you want an Elise to do on track just depends on your budget and your mental state. But what if you do need more practicality? Easy, BMW M2. The one we'd recommend for the track is an M2 Competition with its M3 and M4 derived, yet detuned twin turbo 6, replacing the single turbo unit in the standard M2. It's got an incredibly balanced chassis, locking rear diff, and recalibrated electronics. The M2 Comp makes for a superb daily driver and a track day warrior. Plus, the tuning potential of these things is near endless, and you can have it with a manual transmission. Now, if anyone out there has an M2 Competition, or honestly really any M2, and you'd like to see it featured on ReDriven and you live in Sydney or Newcastle or somewhere close, can you let us know in the comments or throw us a message on Instagram, because we would love to review one. Also, look, the only way that we can keep ReDriven going is with your support, and the best way to support us is by hitting the like and subscribe button and just sharing our content with your mates. That'd be amazing. And if you want to be notified when part 5 of this series comes out, give that bell icon a bit of a tickle as well. Okay, now the larger rear-wheel drive category, and I tell you what, there were so many possibilities for this particular category, but our pick by the smallest of margins, it's the M2 Competition's larger and slightly more sensible bigger brother, it's the M3 Competition. Okay, what's not to love with the M3 Competition? Immense power, incredible chassis and balance, superb brakes, all wrapped in a sexy and practical four-door sedan with a big boot. Actually, in saying that, there are a few things not to love about the M3. Watch this video up here to see what we mean, or the link is in the description below too. But look, overall, the M3 offers all of the track day fun with almost none of the compromises that many other track-ready vehicles exhibit. And again, like the M2 Comp, what you can do to an M3 or how far you want to push its abilities are really up to your budget and levels of self-preservation. Look, the manual transmission versions are the pick for pure driving enjoyment, but they are incredibly rare and they generally get snapped up minutes after being advertised. But the dual clutch works brilliantly both on and off track as well. But it is important to remember that being a larger rear-wheel drive car, driving hard on track, it will eat the consumables. So be prepared to budget for regular tyre and brake changes. And look, it's probably best to upgrade these components once you've eaten through the factory-fitted items anyway. Look, obviously everything that we've mentioned, short of the practicality of the four-door sedan elements, also go for the BMW M4 Competition. But as far as honourable mentions go, look, there are so many. Kicking off with another BMW, the new Toyota Supra. We're starting to see plenty of these Supras hammer around race circuits at track days, and if you have no need for rear seats, they are a superb option. And then there are all of the various AMG C63 variants, which yes, are bloody quick, they sound incredible, and they are huge fun. But we found, no matter which variant or example, they do have an insatiable appetite for brakes and tyres at track days. In saying that, if anyone out there does have a C63 and you happen to live in Sydney or Newcastle or somewhere close and you'd be happy to see it featured on ReDriven, can you let us know in the comments or on Instagram via our messages, because we would love to feature one. Then there's the fact that it is the specific. And the more grown up is, oh, you f***er. Here we go. Just check out. Serious. So next week we're into Dreamland. It's the over $100,000 category. What cars do you think should make that list? Try to keep it kind of realistic, because obviously we'd all love to go and track a McLaren F1, but that would be bonkers. Let us know in the comments. See you next week.